Can't say I'm prepared for this. All the memories gone. Gonna put us in some kind of weird artificial space. And we're gonna have to take her out inside her. There she is. The Queen of Blood. Is that the memory?
Steen, listen to me, please.
I'm afraid she's gone.
Synchronization will soon be complete.
Oh dear. It's going to be a version of the statue outside. No, it's just going to be a big old thing with her at the chest, by the look of it.
Synchronization complete. Data for the Endless Fiend has been overwritten and reconfigured. All shall be well, henceforth and in perpetuity.
She's gone. Unless there's some trick with her crown or something.
Forever will I keep and cherish my people. To that end, I have removed the remaining checks upon my authority.
Gods!
Obstructions to the plan will be summarily removed.
Wait, I still haven't set.
Be gone from my presence.
Interesting that it hasn't done anything about us. I guess we're not taking trusts in with the final trial then. We're going to have to call on our own.
According to Eliminator's battle data, you pose the single greatest threat.
Mm-hmm. That would probably be true.
As such, you will be erased, here and now.
And I suppose because summoning allies through the...
I am the bearer of the memories of Queen Sphene of Alexandria, and my desire to protect my people transcends all others.
It's a very snapped fade to black there.
If it were you, could you have found another way? With your strength, could you have held fast to that which is dear without sacrifice? Listen to me. There's something
Oh,
I
yes.
need to tell you.
There was a secret that she kept that she couldn't say. I wonder whether she was warning us about this or...
Is that concern or suspicion? If things should take a turn for the worse... might I...
Obstructions to the plan will be summarily removed.
Yeah, there's the key. It's time. Oh, they've upgraded the graphics on that. I guess we're the Traveller once again. Oh, we've locked it out. Was that us locking it out? Interphos. Because it's an interface. Huh. Confront Sphene in the Interphos. Well, it looks like we have to do this with a world free of suffering and loss. The earnest wish made by the young Queen Sphene in her final moments was realised centuries later in the form of living memory, a twisted paradise behind the legend of the Golden City. In order to obtain the ether needed to sustain the sanctuary's recreated denizens, Sphene has shared her conscience, the memories she had as a living person, to arise as within the maze of Terminal, a terrifying entity possessed of absolute authority. Thus empowered, she now seeks to initiate interdimensional fusion and harvest the life force of people in other worlds. And it falls to you to stop her. But untold lives are sacrificed. Well, I guess we just have to wait. Interesting that they didn't allow us to do this with trust, but I suppose the whole point is that we have to call on our heritage, I suppose. Estimated wait time 10 minutes. Who knows? Who knows how long this will actually take? And that is the problem, quote unquote, with putting a trial here. Yeah, this is, I think, why they allowed us to do the Heidelin fights with trusts. We couldn't do the Endsinger though, could we? Or could we? Did we do Endsinger with trust? No, we didn't. Nor did we do Hades. But I suppose there was... No, because they allowed us to do... we did Zavolja with trial, didn't we? With trusts. What was the 93 one? Oh, it was Valagamanda, wasn't it? Oh, average wait time has gone up. Great. Yeah, I am... just checking whether there's an invisible wall there. Yeah. That's a very Final Fantasy-esque design, isn't it? A tiny thing in the chest of a bigger thing. Interesting that they've gone for a very different colour palette for this as well in comparison to other things. I assume these spindly cables are going to be used for something during the fights. It does have a little bit of Eden, of Pandemonium. Oh, no. Of Eden. Yeah, I know what I mean. Eden Prime, was it? That kind of mechanical thing. Yes, the problem, quote unquote, with this way of doing it is that waiting for the duty queue, I'm not going to say spoils the pace or wrecks the pace. I'm not going to hyperbolize it like that. But it does offer an obstacle to the pace. You've got to hope that you don't have to wait too long between that cutscene where we start it and the actual fights. But that's an MMO thing, isn't it? But what else can you do apart from just do the same as we did with the Trust with the other two trials? And if you remove all of the MMO from it, like completely, you don't need to rely on anybody else for the MSQ at all. Are people going to be frustrated by that, or are they not? I'm noting that when I have done dungeons and stuff, it's always been the healers. It looks like there is a healer shortage, or maybe people just aren't leveling healers first. I don't know. But healers definitely seem to be in demand. When I swapped over to Dark Knight and I queued for dungeons, then the queues popped instantly. There was no wait time whatsoever as a tank, which is generally what I expect as a tank. But I suspect the same is very much true of the healers, probably because both of the new jobs are DPS. How is this going to end? Oh, there we go. Light party. Full party. Interphos. The other, I suppose, root of that is, as well as interface, we've got interred. As in, put in a tomb or a grave. Oh, people. Queen Eternal.
I will suffer no interference.
And interference for Interphos. It's interesting that the head of that reminds me of Zeralja. Right. 2 Vipers. Greetings and goodbye. Legitimate force. That looks like a... Ooh, that's going to be a delayed beam one side, beam the other. Yep. I can do mechanics once I recognise them. Oh, that's got a... okay. So you've got to watch out for the wibbly floor. That's a cool mechanic. Didn't recognise that at all, because why would I? That's completely new. Right, that's targeting specific people. No. It's targeting me, in fact. So that goes to everybody, I assume. It goes to... It goes once to everybody. Right, this is going left and right. I assume that's going to do something wibbly and weird later on. Virtual shift. You going to move? Oh, good. Do I just have to take that? Or is there a moment where I can... That's a weird one. Not sure how that works. Oh, that's in. Okay. Yeah, 90% of her hitbox is well within the zone here, so it's not like we can't move around. Right, back to the original arena. Okay, this is one on everybody. is it going to be mixed with... Okay, this is the Wibbly. That's a really cool effect. Now that I can actually recognise what it's doing... Yeah, in terms of raid markers to show people how something works, that's really cool. Right, legitimate force again. We know how to deal with this. Move as soon as it finishes firing. Not even down to half health yet. I wonder if there's going to be a second phase at 50%. Oh, okay. She puts levitate on us. Oh, that's cool. Gravity increase is making you fall. That's really cool. That's really cool. Oh, floats.
Do not be afraid. Death is not the end.
I don't like floating over the obvious. That I'm really taken by that. That's very cool indeed. Right, is this going to be the one that seeks everybody? This is the barrier one? Yeah.
Are you still alive? Activating reserve power. Are you still alive? Disengaging sequence.
Uh-oh. Is this a DPS race or is this... No, this isn't. This is spread, isn't it? And this is stack? Okay. That was a lot of things at once, which, considering how long the fight is, I'd argue isn't necessarily the most fun decision. Divide and conquer. Right, so that's just... Oh, and again. Ether Tithe. This is the sucky sucky. Right, this side. Oop. There is opportunity to get out of that, but... Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity to... Ah, this is the one that I was wondering when we'd see again. Oh, absolute authority again. Oh, is this, Oh?
Is this a rift in reality?
Uh-oh.
She lost control of the power? Steen, listen to me.
Clonk?
I understand. I do. And I know that you won't be swayed from your course.
Bonk.
But if there's truly no other way to resolve this, then face me. Not as a machine, but as the real you.
Ooh.
Demajen.
Oh, she's still in there.
Anomaly detected in memory banks.
Ah, yes.
Data for the MSQ partially restored.
Ooh.
This is what I desire, and I will not fail.
Ooh. Oh, God, okay.
I can't bear to lose them. Not again.
I feel your pain, as if it were my own.
Yeah. This is going to be a DPS race to the end, isn't it? Oh, shit. Let's not stand in that.
I know you. All of you.
How can you say that to me now?
No?
It's over, Steen. We will stop you.
No! I won't let you! I can't! I will protect my people's happiness!
Leave that burden with us now. We will bear it in your stead.
Deeps. Oh. Oh, God. You feel for that, don't you? Going down with the ship. An impassioned plea for her to give up her... How is it going to end? That actually wasn't too... It felt like it was quite a long fight, but then the final fights tend to, especially because people don't know the mechanics. And they probably play really badly, like me. Queen's ship passes.
Your voice reached me, Demajen.
Is it really you?
What's left of her?
No, only in part. My memories as a living person are gone. I've been remade from those I had as an endless. However, I cannot remain long, for the Meso terminal will soon cease to function. Once You wanted to know me, Lamachi. Let my last act be to give an honest accounting. I am, above all, sorry for the suffering I've caused your people and mine. I am ultimately powerless against the inevitable, unable to do aught but visit harm upon the innocent.
While trying to do the right thing.
I am,
Do a duty,
in the
rather.
end, a pitiful, selfish creature. One that should never have been created.
You didn't ask for it, though. You strove to make your people happy.
Our nations are worlds apart, but they feel so close. Who knows what we could have accomplished had we walked together towards a shared future. And yet, it could never be so. We each had our own to protect.
If only I had met you when I was still alive, then perhaps. But it's no use dwelling upon a miracle that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Still, if there's one thing I hope you'll believe, it is this. Brief though it was, I treasured our time together. It pains me to think that its memory will disappear along with me.
It won't. You'll live on as long as we remember you. That's been the whole moral of the story. It's been the message.
I know I have no right to ask this of you, but when I'm gone, my people, will you?
We'll take care of them. Don't worry. And we will never forget the Endless. Neither them, nor the time we spent with you. So be free of your burdens, Sphene. And sleep well.
I will. Thank you.
The things we do to protect those we care about. Oh, it's time. Yoink.
Farewell, my beloved Alexandria.
Can't help but feel sad considering what she has wanted to do and yet what she would have done. I'll hold on to that. And the lights will go out. The golden glow will disappear. And the credits will roll. The sun will rise on what remains.
So it was that the meso-terminal fell dark, and the endless departed for oblivion's embrace. Their resplendent paradise was no more, as the memory sustaining it faded with the golden light. Even so, in a way, they live on. This I felt with conviction, as I basked in the glow of a new dawn.
We still don't know where we are, which reflection we're on. Yes, the...
It remains to be seen how interdimensional fusion may have affected other reflections.
There's our hook.
Most parents spoke of the power's capacity for both good and evil. I cannot help but wonder how Sphyn's deeds will be remembered by those they touched. The key that started it all was entrusted to the adventurer. Such an artifact certainly lies within the Scion's realm of expertise, and no objection was raised to their retaining it for research.
Dare we give it to Stola?
By order of Vau Kona, the Sky Deep cenote was placed under the strict watch of the Land Scout.
Have we closed the gate behind us?
With the mighty Bakujaja among their number, they shall not want for strength, even in Soralja's absence.
Yes, the question is how they're setting up antagonists.
Of their queen's passing, the people of Alexandria mourned and wept. Having devoted herself to sparing them sorrow, the sight might well have moved Sphyn to tears. However, with Wuklamat carrying on her legacy, I have faith that her subjects will know joy once more.
And they've got a new king!
As anticipated, the news that young Gululja had succeeded his father as king was greeted with trepidation. Reception was also mixed when Wuklamat came forward to name herself as the boy's guardian. But the people were mollified to learn that Everkeep systems remained operational, and there would be no impact on their lives.
Their lives? No. Their deaths? Yes.
One day, when he is older, Kululja will decide for himself what manner of ruler he will be. Till that day and beyond, may the path of the young king be illuminated by the love of family.
Family! It's been quite the journey, hasn't it? With a threat that escalated quite well.
Meanwhile, in Tuliyollal, the people came together to hail their new Dawn servants' great victory.
Food! Now I'm hungry.
Having honored those they lost, they turned their attention to a brighter future and celebrated for 3 days and nights.
I'm really, really interested into what the hook's going to be at the end of this, because there will be one. There should be one. Meanwhile, elsewhere... Ah, there's Graha with his taco. Ow. Demajen, Thancred. Help me, Alphino! There are children! Where's Areville going?
Everything had been resolved, though.
No.
Those who had spent 30 years in the Dome struggled to resume their former lives. This and a host of other challenges remained.
The mystery of the key.
But as the new Dawn servants continue to lead with strength and wisdom, the people may be assured that peace will endure.
A big dome. Roll credits proper. I am torn. The build-up of that story all the way through was very well done, in my opinion. I think the pace would probably have been a bit slow for some, especially towards the start of the expansion, where it's like just going and doing vaguely menial tasks. I'm sure some people would say. I was fine with it. It was world building. It was getting us introduced to and used to these characters. The question I have is, are the characters going to be interesting enough to carry an arc? And for that, I'm unsure. You know, Wuklemat has been interesting in terms of watching her grow from the somewhat blusterous, naive potential ruler to where she is now. Confident, taking other people's burdens on the shoulders and so on and so forth. The question is, what further growth can she have that will make her an interesting person to follow? Because whilst I've not had any issue at all with this being her story up until this point and us being along and helping for the right, is she interesting enough to continue a story as a protagonist, as the protagonist? And that I'm up in the air about. You know, I'm not advocating for the whole, oh, you know, she's the main character and we're just a side character. It's not that. It's what can they do with her to help the story grow. And I'm hopeful that what is likely to come at the end of these credits will give me a better sense of where they may be heading with this story. But of course, we are coming off the back of Shadowbringers and Endwalker, where they were at the end of a story, whereas here, we're at the start. The question is, now that we've already dealt with Sphene as the villain, and we've dealt with Zoralja as the villain, and we've dealt with Bakul Jar Jar as an antagonist, the mystery of Kryle's parentage has been solved. What happened to Erenville's mother has been solved. It feels like it's all now hanging on this key. And yeah, okay, it's a very interesting hook, but we don't have an antagonist right now, and arguably that is problematic in terms of narrative. I mean, obviously they're going to set something up, but I feel like they should maybe have done it throughout the expansion in the backgrounds. You know, if you go back to Realm Reborn, there was no doubt that the Ascians in the background were doing things and manipulating things. And you take it into Heavensward, and you've got the Dragon Song War, and you've got Nidhogg, and all of that in the background. And obviously in Shadowbringers and Endwalkers, we got some fairly obvious villains that walked with us. I have enjoyed Wuklamat's journey, and the journey that we went on with her. But it has led to a place of equilibrium. It feels like that's the end to the story. And in a way, I'm not sure if that was the right step. But again, we've got the after credits thing to come, I am sure. So rather than focusing on my apprehensions about where they are going with it, let's go back to, you know, the expansion. The graphical update has been subtle in many ways, but noticeable in ways that I think bring just that extra polish to a game that was starting to really look its age. You know, the extra polygon counts, the extra textures, the change in lighting. These have added things. I still think they could have gone further with stuff like the hair. You know, if you looked at Kakua's hair, it's still a bit pixely. You know, I feel like there's still room for improvements. They've clearly done a bit more with motion capture with this. The changes to things like grass, foliage definitely helped improve immersion in the world. You know, Yaktul and so on and so forth with its scrubland, Shaloni with its kind of deserty look. Clearly better than it could have been done in the original engine, or the original graphics in the original engine, because the engine's still the same. So graphically, the game has it's received its first graphical update, which has improved some things, but not all things. You know, there's still some iffy texture work on some of the outfits, but the changes to the metal, the changes to the lightings, I think have been a great first step. The additions to Dark Knight and to Reaper are evolutions rather than innovations. I think they haven't added anything massive to the jobs. They've just added an extra button or two, or not even an extra button or two. Realistically, they've added an extra button press to an already existing thing. The story with the Cool Jar Jar I thought was well done. So yes, graphical update, great. There have been some very, very cool musical tracks in this, as one could expect, to accompany zones that were also very well done. Now, I liked the going around the zones and seeing the different things. Obviously, as an MMO, the world is very, very static. So it's not like, you know, it's not like, as I said, coming off the back of the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC for Elden Ring. You know, the art direction for FF14 is good, but it is MMO. You know, it's not designed to be a dynamic world or anything like that. It's something that has to be reasonably performant on everybody's machines and so on and so forth. So it's old, mind you. So's the engine for Elden Ring. Performance in that game was not great. Performance in this, actually, in the cities has not been great either. At peak times, it's really hammering your CPU. But of course, the game is very CPU dependent, as a lot of MMOs tend to be. Yeah. What they did with the graphics for the fact that it's an old engine and it's an MMO is significant, I think. So yes, in terms of the dungeons, I liked all the dungeons. I've done almost all of the dungeons many times. I don't feel I've got any real reason to do the last couple again. We will, of course, have 2 expert dungeons. I'm assuming there's 2 expert dungeons to do. Don't know what they are. Don't know when they'll be. I assume we'll get some breadcrumb quests for those, and I will do those. But I'm assuming we won't be able to do those with trusts. I don't think we get to do those with trusts, do we? Until we've used the trust system to level our trusts all the way up to the cap, which will take a while. Although I have got mine up to level 92. Not quite 93 yet, but that's more than previous. Yeah, I think my biggest thing is I've really enjoyed the journey, but I don't have any real idea as to where the journey is heading. The ending feels like it's been just a little bit too conclusive for me. But that's the nature of storytelling in an expansion where you're gonna have to feed it into 7.1, 7.2. You know, coming off it's a problem with Endwalker, I think, because it was the culmination of a long chunk of storytelling. You know, everything had been established. We could keep that pace going, that pace moving. The mysteries, well, we still had plenty of mysteries in Endwalker. We got to go to Elpis. We saw Emmett Selk and Ithnadeus and Vanar and so on and so forth before the fall. Yeah. Loved seeing Ajdaya and Vitra showing up. That was a nice little kind of touch, and I'm sure that will have things going forwards. It's weird. Part of me feels dissatisfied And I think it's because Sphene was a likeable character, and I would have liked to find some way of saving her. But at the end, she'd been dead for hundreds of years. The mystery of where the kind of living memory is, what reflection it's on, and so on and so forth, that it might be that we can work it out. The revelation that it was the Lalafels who escaped the source during a past umbral calamity and found their way to Alexandria through their innovation and technology, that is interesting. And I'm wondering, but again, it's all tied into this key, isn't it? It's tied into that. But yeah, the mystery of who the Seeker was it? No, the Speaker. Who the Speaker was, how they got and developed this technology. Was it just purely through their own, innovations? It's clearly tied into it's clearly tied into the Ascians in a way that they set up the Calamity of Ice. And I will have to go and kind of take down the green screen and find out the Encyclopedia Eorzea, and either I will put something somewhere on the screen with my findings about, which this reflection is likely to have been, and so on and so forth. Or I'll talk about it some other time once more story details have been revealed. It's possible that after these credits there will be more stuff, and it's possible that the hints as to where we could potentially be going and what we could potentially be doing for the rest of 7.x, possible those seeds are already there and I've just missed them because I've been so focused on Sphene and Solution 9 and so on, and Erenville to an extent, and Kryle's family. We've had some very likeable characters in this expansion, especially in the latter half of this expansion, and many of them have died, or many of them were already dead. I'd say my biggest issue with the expansion has simply been that I couldn't pronounce any of the names. The voice acting has been great. The American West style voice acting, I think, in Shaloni was probably the bit that's not grated, but stood apart, I think, from everything. But maybe it's because we spent so much time with Wuklamat and the people of Tuliyollal that's, the Southern American pronunciations of things that going to a more kind of American West style felt odd. And then of course Sphene was, I don't even know what her accent was. Yes, I'm mixed on the ending to this, perhaps because I think I would have liked more, but I very much enjoyed the journey. It's not. If I think back to my reaction, my emotional reaction to the things, all of the stuff in living memory was very emotive and very well done. And maybe part of what I'm feeling right now is that a little bit of emotional drain, because I've done this all on essentially one day, all of this fairly emotional stuff. It's been a real journey. If you think back to the competition, to the revelations with Bakul Jar Jar and what the Mamul Jar did, there's been a lot of really good emotive beats in this story, surrounded by character growth and so on and so forth. My question then is, it's where are we going? I think that is what is niggling away at me. Where are we going? I'm not going to say it doesn't feel like they've done a good job, because that's quite harsh critique, but yeah, where are we going after this? It's felt fairly self-contained, and I think perhaps I wanted a little bit more. It feels like a lot of things have been wrapped up. I think that's what I'm I think that's what's kind of niggling at me. The storylines seem to have been quite wrapped up. And I think potentially they could have done with more... What is going on in the background? Oh, is that Gululjaja and Suralja? Is this in the past, potentially? Yeah. But the... yes, it is, because Namika's there. So we've got this story about diversity, culture, getting to know each other, working together. You know, it's quite a, I suppose, a culturally or an appropriately historically relevant narrative for what is going on in the world right now. This idea of, you know, tolerance and acceptance. We've had characters that have shown growth. We've had the death of a beloved leader. We've had with Zeralda, the pressures or expectations. It's covered quite a lot of storytelling ground. We've still got the mystery of Gululjar, the new king, and who his mom was. But we don't have a threat. The threat has seemingly been dealt with because Sphene has been relieved of her duty. I think she was a well-escalated threat, realistically. And I do like the fact that we kept up with that conceit of, you know, going and finding out about the peoples, and we found out about her, and we got the... And I said right back that there was something uncanny about her. There's something too good to be true about her. And I was right, and that's reasonably gratifying, but equally I kind of was hoping to be proved wrong. And also, in a way, I was proved wrong. You know, she was a very black and white antagonist, I guess, because of the very nature of her. You know, she was a good person doing a bad thing for noble intentions from her point of view, and that's... She was a villain of circumstance, essentially. You know, she had, as I think a lot of good villains are, realistically. You know, villains don't see themselves as villains, although Sphene recognised what she was doing right towards that final change. You know, she couldn't bear the thought of her people, you know, of failing in her duty, essentially. But it wasn't so much about her failing in her duty as it was about continuing to protect her people. She couldn't give them up. Because that's how she'd been made, essentially. I feel like there was a reasonable amount of nuance to that section of the story. You know, the time distortion effect was interestingly done. I will say, but because we can go back to Ultima Thule whenever we want, because there's Aetherytes there. No, we can go back to Ultima Thule and we can see and experience and remember. But going back to the unlost world or whatever it was, going back to living memory, it's changed in a fairly significant and dramatic way. You know, in Ultima Thule, yes, there's a big sphere. I think, is the big sphere still there? I think it's gone, hasn't it? Or has it? I can't remember. The formula of learning about the people and about their cultures and stuff when we went to the living memory. I'm glad that they stuck with that formula. But I think it is now played out. You know, I wouldn't want to see it done again in FF14 because then it would... arguably, it was already feeling repetitive. But that was kind of the point. That was the point of the journey. You know, going to the new world, going on adventure, finding out new places and new people. That was the formula. That was the point. But I don't want to see it again. I feel like it has run its course. It stayed its welcome. So the question is, the question is just, where are we going? Where are we going from here? How are we moving forwards? Obviously, we've got the Arcadion opening up next week, I think it is. No, it's the 5th of July today, so I think the Arcadion's next week. No, it's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks from the actual launch, isn't it? So it'll be the week after, I think. Because technically speaking, we're only 3 days into the expansion. Because it launches on the 2nd. It launched on the 2nd probably, didn't it? I think that's right. Obviously, early access throws things. So 2 weeks from the 2nd, I think it was. So it'd be the 16th, which is... yeah, which is a chunk away yet. But it gives people time to experience the story. And the storyline has been quite substantial. You know, it's a good 40 plus hours, I think. I'm not sure exactly how much footage that I've got. I know I'm running out of hard drive space. So it's been a chunk. I can't actually remember how I was feeling at the end of Endwalker. Satisfied, I think. I don't feel satisfied with this, but to be fair, why should I be? I think if you are, you know, somebody who's played through the entire decade plus of FF14 as it's coming out, not if you joined late, you've had a more concentrated experience. I think if you've joined late, not to, you know, play down the experience that people have had. But having stuck with the game for so long, it would be really quite difficult, I think, to have replicated the feel of that experience, that conclusion to the story in this. Because everything through Realm Reborn all the way through to the end of Endwalker was build up and build up and build up and build up and build up. It wasn't until Shadowbringers that we really understood the nature of the threat and what we've been trying to deal with. And this has been a fresh start with plenty of callbacks, but I think it was probably a good choice to just do callbacks without allowing our past experiences to overwrite some of these new ones. You know, we've heard about, you know, Kral's grandfather and so on and so forth, the Baldessian bits and pieces for years now, but this is, you know, it didn't take away from what Kral has experienced here. Likewise, the stuff with Ritra, you know, builds on the stuff from last expansion, the Razatan stuff. But it's good that it wasn't, you know, and here are all the things that you've done previously. You know, it allowed this story the space to be its own thing, for both good and ill. You know, there's pros and cons to doing that, and I think that's partially what I'm feeling right now, in the sense that whilst I've been on this adventure, I've very much enjoyed the learning about new things and this, that and the other, but equally I know that it is the first step in a new arc, and I am trepidatious about what that arc is going to involve. Again, because of my belief in, as a writer, knowing what the adversity, you know, knowing who your adversaries are. You know, there's a pretty common idea that all stories are only as good as their antagonists. You know, it's why a lot of people, and this is probably going to upset some people by saying this, but it's why DC Comics tends to have better stories, because they have better villains. You know, Marvel's got great heroes, but DC has better villains in a lot of people's opinions. It's not a consensus, don't get me wrong. So the Ascians obviously were an incredible set of villains, as revealed in Shadowbringers, and then given they were recontextualized in Endwalker. And that is why that story was, in my opinion, so masterfully done. In this, we had our antagonist recontextualized as well. You know, we had Bakul Jar Jar given recontext for why he is how he is. Zeralja, we had a bit of, but perhaps not as much as maybe we could have done. Maybe. Likewise with Sphene. You know, she seemed like a protagonist with some hidden depths, recontextualized as an antagonist in a way. And she is an antagonist. You know, she was there. Or rather, you could argue that we were her antagonists. We were stopping her getting what she wanted. That's the point, isn't it? That's what an antagonist is. An antagonist is somebody who stops the protagonist getting what they want. You know, they are there to antagonize, to prevent. The question is, what are antagonists going to be from now on? Mechanically, I feel like the dungeons in this expansion have very much expanded upon things. Yeah, we've seen some reused mechanics, and I'm almost a little bit tired of seeing Electrowave because they've been in the final 3. But the use of different markers and different mechanics, I think there's a degree of extra complexity there than there has been for a while, realistically. And I'm intrigued as to what the experts dungeons are going to present to us as regards those. These are all musical things and sound related stuff, aren't they? Yeah. The issues that I was having towards the start of the expansion, with the crackling and the popping and the music that wasn't looping quite right, that seems to not have been an issue towards the end of it. Don't think I updated anything. Maybe it was just an issue with specific zones? Or the number of people in the zone? I don't see how that would affect... I suppose if the CPU was under heavier load. I don't know. Either way, they've still got a few kind of technical quirks, I think, to work on, to iron out. Because performance in cities is not good. In fact, I'd go so far as to say the performance in cities is bad. Yeah, I suspect this is going to go down as a reasonably divisive expansion. Here we go. Aha, here is our hook. The key. It's going to light up. It's going to do something. Oh, no. I wouldn't leave it out of my sight, to be honest.
I'm sorry, we haven't been able to talk properly. Oh, between the reconstruction work and Papa's funeral, I've hardly had time to breathe.
Well, you need to keep on breathing. Breathing is important.
But at long last, there's a lull in my duties.
Mm-hmm.
You've done more for us than we could ever hope to repay. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
When we left Eorzea behind to take part in the contest, none of us could have predicted what complications would follow.
Mm-hmm.
You truly have a knack for finding trouble, my friend.
Yeah. We smile about it.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Nope.
So what's next for you? Assuming you're still set on leaving the Gleaner's life behind?
I'm off to fulfill my mother's dream, of course. Like she had intended, I'll embark on a journey in search of the unknown. She's sure to enjoy my stories when we meet again in the ethereal sea.
You're going to become an adventurer, Erenville.
Well, well, sounds like a plan. But will you have the coin to get by?
He's probably massively rich.
I may no longer be a gleaner, but I still have contacts in Charlian. Contacts with deep pockets, always eager to pay for information on new or rare species.
Oh, he's taking his rucksack off.
And what of you? Any new adventures in the offing?
Therein lies the potential issue. We've got the key.
Until you're ready to leave, you're our guest here in Tuliyollal. And this time, I won't pester you to take up a post. By now, I know you well enough to know you can't stay in one place. No more than you can ignore the plight of those in need.
It is what we do.
Your path will always lead you elsewhere, and you'll continue walking it. Isn't that so?
Yup.
An adventurer to the marrow you are. What is it exactly that spurs you on?
I like seeing new stuff. The legacies I bear. You laugh, but... Mm-hmm. Aha! Homecomings are usually uneventful affairs. This time it was anything but for me. But all's well that ends well. We have you to thank for that. Well, as much as I'd love to keep chatting, I need to get going. Still a heap of things to do, and it wouldn't do to leave it all to Kona. By the way, did Tuliyollal decide to remain in Solution 9? He did. I said that he can consider Tuliyollal his home, but he's more comfortable over there. Shell keeps an eye on him for us. We'll visit him as often as we can. He still needs our support, especially while he's agonising over his inherited authority. Though I told him he needn't make a decision right away, we can't postpone it forever. I'll do whatever I can to help Tuliyollal, as well as everyone inside the dome. I promised as much to Sphene. For my part, I'll be keeping to Tural for a time. Among other things, I'd like to look into the problem with the wildlife in Shaloni. So if you get the urge, Demajen, let's go on another journey together. There's still plenty of places I would like to show you. Now that sounds like fun. If you ever have need of me, I'll come running. Problem with the wildlife. Oh yeah, the cerulean stuff. Oh, before I forget, I have a gift for you. Can you guess what it is? Oh. Oh, of course. That's what the mystery box was. An alpaca! Comes from Toby's stable, of course, and is as sure-footed as they come. Perfect for an adventurer who's always on the move, eh? Yeah, this is the whistle for calling it. Of course. Of course! Right, I'll really get going now. I'm sure we'll meet again soon. Till next time. Take care. Smile orchestrion roll. Aha! The Arcadion is going to open up with a revelation for us. Fellow citizens of Alexandria, ever since our beloved Queen's passing, you have understandably abided in grief. Sorrow darkens your once bright faces. But is this what Her Majesty would have wished to see? No, most assuredly not. You know this to be true. If we are to honour a memory, we must reclaim our smiles. To that end... we are reopening the Arcadion. Yeah, this is our lead into the raid quests. In much the same way we had the bit with Elidibus or the Arcadion. That's right, friends. After a long hiatus, I am pleased to announce the grand reopening of the Arcadion. You have very purple eyes and a very interesting moustache. The realm's finest fighters stand ready to entertain you in glorious and thrilling combats. Come and join us, I bid you, and let your cares be forgotten. Nice hat. does it mean? As skies aflame proclaim night's end and thoughts unto adventure tend, the brave make haste or hill and no, can't read that fast. You've completed the main scenario quest, Dawntrail. Quests to unlock new content have now become available in Tuliyollal and Solution 9. Additionally, you may now enter Alexandria with a party of NPC avatars. Rest well, seek with the unknown, for many more adventures await you. In the glow of a new dawn. I cannot help but feel that they have attempted... Ow. They've attempted to play a bit safe with that. Almost like they maybe know exactly where they're going. Well, they must know by now exactly where they're going to go, but they're potentially waiting to see player reaction. Because as has been said ever since Endwalker, and I mean 6.0, they've got a lot of narrative weight to bear starting off a new story arc, and I suspect a lot of what is going to happen in 7.1 plus will be tweaks over the next 3 months or so to account for reviews, player feedback, stuff on buzz on social media, and so on and so forth. Yeah, what people's reactions to this have been will, to a small degree, steer where they go with the storyline from here. And maybe that's why they haven't given us any real hook, apart from we've got this key. The Wandering Minstrel is here. We'll look at you in a second. Yes, I feel like they have played it safe in terms of we're not announcing who the villain is going to be. It's been a reasonably self-contained story, but we did get that glimpse of the crown. That's not accidental, and I'm reasonably certain that the fade to black. We could read it a couple of ways, couldn't we? I mean, it could have just been the light fading from the crown when, you know, Sven's memories are, but it could also have been, look, the crown is still glowing, fade to black, keep the mystery. You know, I'd have to go back and rewatch that, I think. You know, was it just the light in the crown dying, or was the whole screen fading to black? The fact that it was there on its own has left that deliberately ambiguous. So could there be more to it than that? That's a nice hook. We've also got the key. That's a hook. That is a story. You know, that's an essential part of the story. Left very open and ambiguous. You know, where did it come from? Who created it? So on and so forth. I'd have liked a little bit more, but you know, we'll have to see what they do. For now, though, I am mostly satisfied with that. Shadowbringers and Endwalker were a hard beat to follow. Obviously, I really enjoyed both Shadowbringers and Endwalker because realistically, it was a back-to-back story. I've heard that a lot of people thought Endwalker wasn't as good. I suspect there will be many people that will not have enjoyed Dawntrail. I have. It's possible that I'm in a minority. I don't know. I haven't looked at any reviews or anything as of yet. Knowing the internet, there's probably some big controversy or other that I've been completely blind to because I've got everything FF14 muted. Because of course I have. I didn't want anything to spoil the story for me, and I have enjoyed the story. It's left me wanting more. Maybe not necessarily for the right reasons. I will have to spend some time thinking about about why I'm wanting more. Is it because I like the characters? Is it because I wanted more of a clear cut, this is going to be our antagonist for the arc? But thinking about that, you know, why would you reveal your hand so soon? Yes, mixed. Very mixed feelings, but not in a way that I think the expansion is bad. I don't. I've very much enjoyed it. But I'm left with ambivalence and mixed feelings towards the future, I think, in terms of where the story is going. And for some, that is... if you are impatient, I think the way this has wrapped out is going to be unsatisfying. I, fortunately, am quite a patient person. I'm eager to see what is next, but we've got more content coming up. On the subject of which, I'm going to end this recording here because it's been a big one. You can thank the credits for that. And then we're going to take a look at the unlocked content, because I haven't even brought up the map yet, deliberately so, because I want to go and see, you know, what we've got coming up. Thank you very much for watching. If you are leaving the playlist here or whatever, if that's all you care about, my reaction to MSQ, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully my thoughts have been vaguely interesting for some people. If you are continuing on with the journey with me, look forward to the next part, where I think we'll probably take a look at the expert dungeons or whatever is coming next. I don't know. I need to go and have some food, because the tacos and the fact that it is now 2:20 on the afternoon, I'm starting to feel the burden of hunger. Until next time, have yourselves a fabulous day, folks. Thank you for joining me. Let me know what your thoughts on the story have been down below. Try and keep it, you know, relatively civil. I get why some people might not have enjoyed this story. I have expectations as regard that, but yeah, watch how you talk about these things. There's no need for name calling and stuff. I know what people on the internet are like. Have yourselves a great day, folks. Here we are. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.